Is Mark 16:16 credible or not credible is our question for today.
Okay, well that's one of those theological questions. This
Yes,
is
sir.
one of those questions that most people don't really think about, but unfortunately, there are some who propose that those verses don't belong in the Bible. So let's just answer the question right up front. Yes,
absolutely.
it is absolutely credible. You can trust it. In fact, it is incredible what's in Mark 16, and you can put all your confidence in those verses.
Right. And I think that whomever this is that's asking the question has clearly either been taught or told about some scholars who believe that Mark 16, that verse 8 is the ending of that chapter, and they don't believe that, since they can't find in the most ancient of manuscripts, they can't find it there. They believe that the rest of it is not valid. And also, I don't actually subscribe to the idea that they just only believe that, but I think that some of the content, which is in the rest of that chapter, causes them to have
totally
conflict with wanting to believe the idea that it is actually in the original manuscripts. Mark is a very direct and kind of action-packed gospel account of Jesus. And certainly is he very sharp in what it takes to obtain salvation when we get to Mark 16:16. For he just comes out and plainly says it, doesn't he?
Right, he sure does. Exactly. It's like one must believe and be baptized, and that's where they have a problem.
Absolutely.
Well, so you mentioned, I'll just give you the try to break down the scholarly view of this and everything to make it more simple. As you mentioned, 2 manuscripts. There are literally only 2 manuscripts that don't have that passage in it that they base all this on. And they are what are known as Alexandrian manuscripts. And they are some of the oldest manuscripts that we have. But brother, older doesn't make better. So just because it may be closer in time to when it was written does not make it better because it isn't closer to proximity. Here's what I mean by that. Right. There are over 1,600 manuscripts that do have Mark 16, that last from 9 to 20 in there. And they're closer in proximity to Jerusalem, which is where Jesus and the apostles walked. Why is that important? Well, I base that on Acts chapter 18, which says a certain Jew named Apollos, born in Alexandria, was eloquent and mighty in the scriptures, but he only knew the baptism of John. So the point being is he didn't have all of the facts. So could it be possible that those manuscripts that they're basing this on are from faulty information? They don't have all the facts, just like Apollos did. So here's what else we can say is that there are a lot of those early church fathers like Irenaeus, Justin Martyr, Hippolytus, Epiphanius, Ambrose, Augustine, all of those, they cite Mark 16, those verses that we're talking about. That's why we say you can trust the Bible.
Right. So you can trust Mark 16:16 also for the points that you mentioned, but also because it's not a contradiction of any sort.
That's exactly right.
It's not a contradiction of any sort. If you want to say you don't believe Mark 16:16, the rest of the New Testament agrees with Mark 16:16.
That's exactly right.
So you're not getting away from the idea of baptism being essential from salvation. Acts 2:38, 1 Peter chapter 3, verse number 21, Acts 22. So, I mean, it just goes on and on, reiterating the fact that baptism, you must believe and be baptized. So the rest of the Bible agrees, even if you wanted to believe the idea that it was not in the original, it still does not negate any of the facts that is being presented in Mark 16:16.
That's exactly right. So is Mark 16 credible or not credible?
It's credible.
Amen.